Hey guys, just finished watching Titans Season 1, Episode 11, Dick Grayson. Oh my god, this episode was amazing. I mean, the entire episode takes place inside of Dick Grayson's head, and they let you know that right away in the episode. So you start off this episode with the Beach Boys and Dick Grayson just kind of laying in the pool and stuff. And we find out that he's married to, or assumedly he's married to Dawn. At least he's hanging out living with Dawn. He has kids and stuff. He has a child, and they have another child on the way and stuff. That's kind of interesting like that. I guess he really wants to kind of be with her and stuff. It's interesting that we have almost all the characters in this episode. We have Starfire, Dick Grayson, obviously. Beast Boy, Raven, Dawn, Hawk and Dove are both in this episode. Hank's only in it for a little bit. Bruce Wayne and all that stuff. But we don't have anything of Wonder Girl, of Donna Troy, and I think that was kind of interesting dealing with that. They did kind of mention that they had some sort of history, but it wasn't enough for this history to kind of. I guess they don't have enough. He doesn't have enough history with Donna Troy for it to come and be part of this kind of fantasy inside of his head type thing, and I think that was kind of interesting playing with that, and I'm not seeing that. Whereas he just met Coriander, Starfire, and he has her in part of his in his head. I guess he has a bigger relationship with Starfire than he does have with Wonder Girl. It seems to me he probably would have known Wonder Girl for a lot longer. Maybe has spent more time with Wonder Girl, as Robin, and teaming up when Batman and Wonder Woman team up, which I assume they would team up pretty often. So I feel like they would probably have a bigger relationship with Donna Troy than he would with with having Coriander around, So I think that's kind of interesting to see as to how that kind of played on. But maybe they never really had any kind of relationship. Remember, he did sleep with Starfire, but maybe not Donna Troy. So I think that could be something interesting, cool to kind of play with their relationship whenever we get back with a season 2, which with the ending here, they need to do a season 2. If they do not do a season 2, if for some reason, if they did not make their money, like they lost money on this, even if they lose money, the cliffhanger here needs to get resolved. Even if we get one episode that kind of sums everything up, I guess, maybe just a short, like a movie to just put on there, like a 2-hour movie type thing, or a 3-hour movie, drop that on the thing and get kind of a minimum amount of episodes to kind of, it's a cliffhanger, but it's really, I guess it's kind of a cliffhanger, but it's also like really disappointing if they did not get a season 2, which I'll try and look that up to see if anything, but I doubt we'll know if they get a season 2 anytime soon. Probably won't know that till like next year or something. So we'll have to wait and see as to kind of where things go with that cliffhanger. So we see that Jason Todd's in a wheelchair. We find out that it was from the Riddler. Riddler started using guns. He kind of shot him and kind of put him in a wheelchair. So I think that was cool. At first when I saw that from the trailers for this episode, I thought that maybe this was some sort of maybe are they going to do not the killing joke, but the death in their family kind of storyline, whereas Joker beat him to a pulp with a crowbar, but didn't kill him this time. Maybe Batman saved him in this version. So I'm glad that this was kind of part of the inside of Dick Grayson's head, and we not actually have it. So we actually the real Jason Todd is actually completely fine, and we can still do the death in the family and have him die and come back as the Red Hood, which I think would be something amazing to see. And I think that would be really fun to see as to where things could go with that. But like I said, I'd like to see that play on a little bit for a while. And I think it'd be interesting to see. And interesting how we never really saw, even though this was inside of his head, we never saw Batman, we never saw Joker speaking, either of them speaking. And I think it'd be cool is that they kept the same actors who who are playing them, yet we haven't seen their face. Very much like the Superman on Supergirl from the first season, we never really see his face or anything like that. And then I think it would be cool to get Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy to kind of do the voiceovers. Now Mark Hamill, I think it would be obviously a bit tricky with him, busy with with Star Wars and everything, but it's all it is his voice. So maybe he could just send that, if he has the proper equipment with himself, he could send that, do the voiceovers, in his trailer while he's on set for Star Wars. I think that would be really cool. But we'll have to wait and see as to kind of if they could do that. I think that'd be really amazing, having Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill kind of voicing the characters. How does we see them from a shadows? We see the shadow of Batman, we see him, but we don't see the guy's lips moving. So they could put anyone's voice over it, right? I think that would be really amazing to see that, and really awesome to play with that. So we see that we find out that the Joker has been killed by the Commissioner Gordon, and Batman is going to kill the Joker for doing that. And I think that was really interesting. We find out that Alfred is dead, although they don't really say why Alfred's dead, how Alfred died. Did someone kill him? One of the villains kill him? Did he just die of old age or die of cancer or something like that? What would kill him? I think that would have been something to play with. Is it something else? Was it another random gunman? I think that would have sent him over the edge. But I guess would have been something like old age or something like that. Would have made more sense. And we find out that Superman and Batman fell out years ago. So I think that kind of brought up the whole story, like once they mentioned Superman, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand this whole idea and this is all in, his head. But if I was him, call Superman to take on Batman. Superman can stop Batman. He can do that. He can pick him up, fly him into space. He can, use his freeze breath to kind of literally freeze him kind of into one place. He can do all kinds of stuff, right? There's nothing that Superman can't do this to Batman. I mean, Batman would have some stuff ready, but Superman can move so fast that the kryptonite's not even out of his lead container inside of his his utility belt before anything's done. Or even get Superman and the Flash. Flash could just zip by, make sure there's no kryptonite on Batman, and then kind of let Superman take over from there, right? So, that's just something obviously that would have happened if this wasn't inside of his head. We see that the bat signal is being retired too. This new commissioner taking over, he's retiring it for good. And I find it interesting that they were. We saw them. I thought they were going to kind of smash it the way they did in The Dark Knight, the way Commissioner Gordon did in The Dark Knight Rises. The beginning of that, it was even in the trailers that they kind of had to smash the. Or was it in the Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises? I forget which one. It might be at the end of The Dark Knight or in Dark Knight Rises where he smashes the bat signal. And they didn't do that here. They just kind of were putting it away, making it look like they were closing it up into a truck and stuff. So obviously that they don't want to destroy that just yet. They want to keep that. They don't have the money to kind of destroy that. So that was interesting. We see the Joker is... we found out the Joker's dead, and that was interesting. They see him kind of like on top of a car, as if he's been thrown off a roof. We see Trigon show up as a captain of the GCPD, and it's unclear here as if he's kind of aware that he's in there, or if we just kind of, different people that Dick has seen are becoming different key points within his reality in there. Yet he's never really seen Trigon in his human form, so it's kind of unclear. It wasn't clear to there, I guess, if he was aware of what's going on. If he had two different personalities, right? One that's in the real world, one that's inside of him. That wasn't really clear going on there. We see that Joker kind of wakes and stuff. Finally, he's not really dead. Dick goes to Wayne Manor, and he ends up telling Bruce that Bruce won't let Dick in the Batcave, and then he ends up telling him that the Joker's still alive. You're not a murderer yet, right? Starfire, we found out that Starfire is working for the FBI in here, and again, that's why I said it's weird that Starfire is in here and not. And we don't have anything for Donna Troy, which he should have, a bigger relationship, a closer relationship with Donna Troy than Starfire, because he just met her. I don't know how long this show's been going on, but let's say a month or so, maybe 2 months at most. I feel like this show has been going on for time that's been take place in this season. This whole first season has taken place maybe a month, but feels like around that. So it's weird that Donna Troy, I would assume that he has has been with Donna Troy, met her, hung out with her for at least more than a month over time, right? So I think that's kind of weird there, but oh well. We see Batman ends up going to the hospital, kills the Joker, and throughout this whole episode, things are kind of shifting and stuff to kind of push him towards the darkness. We see reality kind of shifting throughout how things are going, right? And Batman ended up going to Arkham Asylum, kills all the villains, kills even the people working at Arkham Asylum, the nurses, the guards, and the warden. They're all get killed by Batman. So Dick ends up telling the GCPD that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and they all end up going after Bruce Wayne and the Wayne Manor stuff. And that was where it really kind of lost me there. I was kind of weirded out by it. It's why not just call the Justice League? But obviously it's all inside of his head. That's why he doesn't call the Justice League, because Superman could take care of him himself. Even just Superman, maybe Flash if he wanted to be extra cautious, but Superman should be able to take care of him himself, right? He could just kind of from afar, use his super breath and kind of literally freeze him into one spot, right? So we see that Batman ends up killing Starfire with a cold gun, because obviously she's there. We see Batman kill Starfire with a cold gun. Dick Grayson, and we see, and then they decide to kind of blow up the Wayne Manor and, pin him inside of there, and they blow everything up, and Dick Grayson goes down, and he sees Batman under the rubble, and he, ends up stomping on him and killing him. I think that was really cool, and that's where we kind of get out of Dick's head, and we see that he's, under the control of Trigon, and we see Raven trying to talk to him and stuff, and he has this kind of Raven-style eyes type thing, and he's kind of under Trigon's control, and then that's really where the episode ends until we get an after-credit scene which reveals where we see somewhere in Metropolis Cadmus Labs, and we see Superboy letting out Crypto. So I think that's really interesting here that we have Superboy and we have Crypto, and it's interesting. I think this is a quite interesting idea that we have. So Superboy in this version of Crypto is going to be, made by Cadmus Labs. I think that's really going to be cool. I think this is it'll be our first live action version of Crypto, ever. I mean, we kind of had one on Smallville, but never really did anything, too much. I mean, there's very little, we can barely call him Crypto, right? There was a dog that saved Clark, if I'm not mistaken, but I have to go back and look at that. I don't really think there was really much of a Crypto on there. Never did fly. I mean, obviously, I gotta have the dog fly when Superman's not flying, right? But it would have been cool to see. It's really going to be cool to see where things go with that. And I like really the style of dog that they chose for that. It looked really perfect for the great casting. Whoever casted the dog and found that dog, I imagine it was a kind of a interesting pick for that, right? To get a dog like that, and I think it's really going to be cool to see. And I'm interested to see who they end up casting as Superboy. I imagine that this stand-in, whoever stood in for for Superboy in this end credit scene could have been anyone. Could be anyone, could be the same guy who's been playing Bruce Wayne as Batman, right? And they just kind of shooting him in a different angle to make him look different. Could just be someone's stunt double. Could be Hank's stunt double. Actually, could have, from the way we see it, they could have had Alan Richardson there, who plays Hank Hall, or who plays Hawk, who plays Hank Hall, who they could have had him doing that, the way they shot him. They could have been anyone on set. So I think that's really going to be cool to see who this ends up being and stuff. I think it's really going to be cool to see is who they end up casting for that role, or if they have someone already casted. I think it'd be quite interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that, if that is actually going to be someone who's casted, because the way they showed him, I think it's going to be quite interesting to play with that. I mean, how they did with Superman and Supergirl, I'm sure if you look at some of the blurry shots of the early Superman shots, they probably don't line up with Tyler Hoechlin, So I think it would be interesting to see if this is someone actually who has already been cast as him. I feel like if they did have someone cast as Superboy, they would have maybe shown his face, or something like that. Whereas since they have him they don't showing his face at all, they're probably kind of not have anyone cast yet. So we'll have to wait and see as to kind of where things are going to go with that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. Do you think they're going to choose someone? Do you think they have someone casted? And if they do, if they have someone casted, and then I don't know why they didn't show his face, but if they don't have someone casted and this was just a stand-in, whatever, they need to keep the guy, make him look like that guy, because from what little we saw in the shape of the guy, that guy looks like he's in great shape. So I think they need to keep someone like that, and keeping, Superboy needs to look ripped like that all the time. And I think that's the way they need to kind of cast it and make it look, undeniably similar. As if, wow, they might make people think that they already had whoever their Superboy casted when they filmed this. I think that's the way they should do it, so that things kind of line up. Other than unlike on Supergirl, whereas if you look at earlier shots, they don't really line up too much. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below, and I'll see you guys pretty much in my next video, which I've done Titans for now, but the next show I'll be watching will be the Marvel's Runaway Season 2, so I'll be watching that pretty soon. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.